Can they make more history today? It would be the first semifinal appearance in Pitt school history. Washington has been there before, 4 times to be exact, the last coming in 2013. Four amazing matches for you coming up today from inside the CHI Health Center arena, and we are getting set to start the first one. You take a look at the fatigue factor for both of these, Missy, playing the 5 sets and the quick turnaround. Pittsburgh ended play at 3:50 yesterday. Washington finished up at 7:20 last night.
Nearly 7:30 p.m. when Washington leaves the floor. I tell you what, those were 5 setters, took a huge taxing toll on these teams physically.
And it's going to be an off-speed shot from Chinaza Inde, number 5 in blue for Pitt. They will get the first kill. And Kayla Lund, we talked about her, the 2-time ACC Player of the Year, the very first back-to-back ACC Player of the Year. Washington tries to go to the outside to Maddie Inslee, and the Pittsburgh block says hello.
That's Chi Inde there, 5 in blue, alongside 11 in blue. Sabrina Starks playing in the middle. And this is a homecoming of sorts for Sabrina. She's from Springfield, Nebraska, just 25 minutes down the road. So it has to be exciting for her to get to play in front of some fans.
Service error for Pitt. We played a 25 through the first 4 sets. You have to win by 2. It is best 3 out of 5. Winner will move on to face either Purdue or Kentucky in the national semifinal. That match coming up tonight at 9 Eastern over on ESPNU. MMA Powell, the setter for Washington, trying a couple of different options. They'll go with the bump set to Inslee, the freshman. Inde off of the block.
Getting Inde going early, and I love those choices that we're seeing for Nebraska, because as a senior, we mentioned coming in how well she is playing with confidence, playing like a leader. Coach Fisher said he felt like Inde and Lund were really playing like 2 of the best players in the country right now.
And Missy, that is her 1,000th career kill, just a couple swings in to this regional final.
And there's a look at Lauren Sanders there, 1 in white, their senior middle blocker, one of the players in this tournament who's really dangerous on what's called that slide set, where they take off behind the setter off of 1 foot. We've seen how difficult that play is to stop. A big part of some of the team's success yesterday. Watch for Lauren Sanders on the slide.
And how about an ace as it grazes the tape and rolls over the top for Emma Calais, who was very critical in their win yesterday. 7 digs, a couple of assists, has a really nice serve, as you can see. Inde on the right side, blocked. This Washington team comes in having so much confidence. How could you not? They trailed by 6 points in that 5th set, and they never flinched.
And Washington, a team who's played back-to-back 5-setters. Courtney, if you go back to round 2, where it took them 5 sets to take down Dayton, so they have played a lot of volleyball in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, MMA Powell, their setter, said after that match yesterday, there was no doubt. They looked at the scoreboard and they just didn't worry about it. She said, I knew we had work to do, but I believed in our weapons and our work that we've put in. And wow, did it pay off.
She said it was definitely a defining moment for us, but I thought it was interesting that Coach Keegan pointed out how quickly he talked to his team about the fact that it may have been a defining moment. He said, but it is not the moment in the tournament for us. And he said, I want this team to understand not to miss the moment tomorrow, meaning today, when they have an opportunity to put their team back where they want it, and that is in the national semifinals.
There comes Lauren Sanders off the slide, but it goes wide. Keegan Cook is the head coach of Washington in his 6th season, the Pac-12 Coach of the Year. He was an assistant with this Washington team the last time that Washington went to the semifinals back in 2013. And there's an ace for Pitt. Alexis Akeo, one of the setters. Pitt runs a 6-2 offense, so that means they'll use 2 setters, and they will always be back row.
And if that name sounds familiar, her sister Kamalani Akeo also set for Pitt prior to Alexis's arrival, and her sister now a volunteer assistant with this team.
Bump set to the outside, and Claire Hoffman. It is long point Pitt.
Claire Hoffman, such a big piece of Washington's success. And for me, Washington's such a hard team to defend because they're so well-rounded. And you add to that a setter who knows how to distribute the ball, how to get the most out of each hitter, and they are just absolutely dangerous. It's so hard to key in on one attacker against these Huskies.
Well, Missy, look at the teams that we have remaining in this round, the regional final round. You have teams that have so much balance, like Washington. We're going to see Texas and Nebraska later. I mean, their number of weapons on their bench are endless almost. And that's going to be blocking the set call.
Yeah, we're going to have an over-the-net call there. Interesting. The setter coming out of the back row for Pittsburgh has to have the opportunity to make a play on that ball. Washington can't reach over the net until that ball breaks the plane of the net. And so the call here is going to be that LMA Powell reached over the net before it broke the plane. And I'll tell you, that doesn't bother me at all as a coach. I want to see my players being really aggressive. And so if LMA Powell reached over a little too soon, hey, that's okay. I like the way she's going after it.
Yeah, MMA Powell, number 7 in white. She is Washington's setter. A lot of experience. She has been their main setter most of her career. Was actually injured back in August and took the fall to heal up to get ready to set this team to the regional final. And we have a timeout called. Pittsburgh on top early here in the opening set. Winner moving on to the semifinals. Courtney Lyle, Missy Whittemore, and Holly Rowe with you. Our first regional final of the day here in Omaha, Nebraska. Pittsburgh with an early lead, playing to 25. And on the right side, the swing coming from Jordan Lockwood, the JUCO National Player of the Year last season.
And she's got some championship experience, as Navarro College actually won that junior national championship behind the play of Jordan Lockwood.
Pitt is on a 7-1 run right now. That grazes off the hands of their libero, Ashley Browski. This Pitt program, the transformation just in this year, since August really, has been interesting to watch. They started the fall schedule 4-4, but they have gone undefeated here in the spring. They're on a 15-match winning streak, and something just clicked for the Panthers.
I'll tell you, Coach Fisher said we entered the spring season feeling like we may need to win every single match because of the fact that they knew there was a reduced tournament field this year of only 48 teams. And guess what? They've done it, won every single match up to this point. So impressive, the turnaround we've seen from them this spring.
Yeah, Dan Fisher, you saw him there in his 8th season, 3-time ACC champs, 5 straight NCAA tournament appearances. Pitt, the only unseeded team remaining. It'll be a tip from the outside from Kayla Lund. Swing from Hoffman is dug up by by Vasquez Gomez. Point for Pitt.
Big swing there by Kayla Lund out of the left front. Realize for Washington, this is now their second ACC opponent, back-to-back ACC opponents. And so you have to wonder, after a season, there's the Kayla Lund sharp angle, well placed. After a season where teams didn't really have an opportunity to play out of conference much, we finally get to see some conference matchups. And for Washington, it's been all about the ACC. And there's a fundamental difference as you watch this match. You'll see that LMA Powell right there, 7 in white, as she delivers a beautiful ball behind. And then you see the swing there from Claire Hoffman as she uses the block, turns her wrist, wipes that one off the block out of bounds. Just absolutely textbook on her execution there. But LMA Powell will play in all 6 rotations as a setter. That is a 5-1. And then for Pitt, you're going to see 2 different setters on the floor as Alexis Akeo and Kylie Levers will share those setting duties out of the back row. They always have 3 attackers available in the front row.
This is a KO in setting now for Pitt. They'll try Lund again, and she changes the speed. She's got a great toolkit.
And isn't that what we've seen from some of the senior outside hitters in this tournament, Courtney? We've seen them go deep into that bag of tricks, and the ones who have been successful know when to swing hard and when to take a little something off of it. But I really feel like what we've seen, the difference maker is the mindful off speed of understanding the defensive schemes and knowing where to place those off speed shots.
Holly, Pitt has so many weapons in the front row.
That's right. And Dan Fisher said one of the areas that they were the most concerned about is zone 4. That's up by the net on the right-hand side. And you can see zone 4 has been getting hammered lately with that big block from Samantha Drexel at 6'4", and Grote at 6'4". They are very big, very oppressive across that front line for Washington. And I think Pitt's hold up pretty well so far in that zone 4 defense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Holly. Just as we were mentioning early on, how well-rounded this Husky team really is. There isn't a rotation where you feel like you can take a breather. Just constantly, as the personnel changes, they are so deep up there.
Testing that Pitt defense. And there is an ace, as that one obviously touched. Kayla Lund with a powerful serve.
We've seen some runs here from Pitt in this first set. And if there was an area of concern for Washington, it could be their serve receive, Courtney. They graduated their 2 players who took the most balls in serve receive a year ago. And obviously with the shortened season this year, this is a team who's still growing in their passing game.
And Kara Bajema was a big part of that for Washington as Samantha Drexel finishes on the right side, the senior transfer from Maryland. This is one of the players, Missy. They need to get Drexel going, number 9 in that white jersey. First 17 matches of the season, she was hitting .317. In the NCAA tournament, .068.
Someone who's definitely been hot in the tournament, though, is Inde of Pitt. And I'll tell you what, she was described as a possessed performance here in this tournament. The way that she has been playing, she and Wokolo both have just absolutely been on fire. That's Wokolo there beside her, number 20 for Pitt in blue, who plays in the middle.
And Washington will take a timeout here. Wow, this is a 13-6 Pitt run. Up here 16-10 in the first set. We're going to 25. Going back to Inde, though, her reaction to the win yesterday in that 5-set upset of Minnesota, she described it herself. I was like a deer in the headlights. Not shocked that we did it, but just feeling that emotion after we made it happen. She just kind of stood there and smiled, and we caught it on camera. It was funny.
Yeah, I couldn't have described that expression better myself. Absolute deer in the headlights. She just had this look of shocked pleasure on her face, and it was just beautiful to see. One of my favorite images of the tournament so far, because of course to see this Pitt team overcome that second round and finally make it past that second round into a regional semifinal, and then not to just get there but to perform at a high level like they did and take down the number 3 seed in Minnesota, I just don't think anyone saw that coming.
Yeah, Holly, that was such a big win for these seniors especially.
Well, you know, and it's not surprising. Chinaza Inde and Kayla Lund have written their names in the history books, and it was just announced last night that they will be enshrined forever on the Pittsburgh Varsity Walk. They will get a brick there with their name. Chinaza Inde, who has been so incredible for them. And it's very unusual to have 2 volleyball, but that's how much these women have meant to this program. They will join the likes of Mike Ditka, Dan Marino, and have their name immortalized forever at Pitt.
That is amazing news and couldn't be more well-deserved for these 2 who have worked so hard to get this Pitt Panther program to make some school history. Again, the first regional final appearance.
And in what those 2 have done this week, I think they just put a final stamp on their application for those big-time awards. Wow, so well-deserved. That is just amazing.
Emma Calais back in and back to serve for Washington, who's got some work to do. Down 5 here in the first set. Obviously, we've seen them come back. They were down by 6 in the 5th set in their last match and won. Claire Hoffman, power off the block. It'll be a bump set to Inde. Right at the feet of Drexel.
And Inde has just taken her game to the next level. And you can see not only does she bring firepower, but look at the emotion she brings to the court. I mean, who doesn't want to play volleyball with Inde? She just brings such great energy to the court. Pitt has really fed off of her in this tournament.
An All-American last season for Pitt, has already hit in this match 1,000 career kills.
She is the 18th player in Pitt history to reach the 1,000 kill club, and she joins Kayla Lund, who was the 17th player in school history.
Pretty impressive when you have 2 on the same roster. Speaking of Lund, out of the back row, was it touched? No.
I really think by Lund's standards, she had a very slow start yesterday, and that can be hard to overcome in an NCAA tournament game. But what I really liked about her yesterday was her response to that slow start, that she just stayed with it, stayed within herself, played like a senior, brought that experience to the floor, played through the hard times, and as we said, coming in, ends that day with her 9th double-double of the year. Couldn't have asked for more from the senior.
That was Vasquez Gomez swinging on the right side in this rotation for Pitt.
And yesterday it was Vasquez Gomez who was just 1 shot away from a double-double herself. So she is mimicking the play of Lund, such a great role model for her. She is a redshirt freshman, didn't play a season ago, but wow, did she use the time in the gym to grow her game. And you're just seeing what a mature freshman she is.
She had 17 digs yesterday, and she's an outside. That swing long and out from Claire Hoffman. Washington has struggled here in the opening set, hitting 0-48. MMA Powell tried to dump it. Pitt said, no, ma'am.
Really nice job of being true to her assignment. Kayla Lund knows that setter is in the front row. We talked about the fact that Pitt never has a setter in the front row. But of course, they play a lot of teams who run the 5-1 system. That is her primary assignment. Take care of the setter first. She does just that. And for Washington,
and it was out, but there was a touch.
For Washington, that's LMA Powell again on the run, beyond that 3-meter line, trying to make a set on the ball. Serve receive continues to be an issue for Washington as they have LMA Powell running. As you said, that time they're able to get the touch, but they're still not quite getting the pass they need.
Crenshaw with a pancake, but it'll eventually give a free ball to Pitt. Another bump set, they go to Samantha Drexel, who terminates. But yeah, you see MMA Powell running all over the floor. You want to try to keep her in system, meaning that she'll have all 3 attacking options.
Checking in for the Panthers. And back to serve number 10, Zoe Funky.
LMA Powell again has to go with the bump set. What can Pitt do with it? They give it to Lund. Hey, how about that Washington block coming up big?
There's Grote alongside Hoffman up there, and I'll tell you what, sometimes when things aren't going well, you've got to depend on the block to get you going. Can you turn your defense into offense? That's what they need right now, and so maybe the block can kind of get things going for Washington.
There you go. But it was tooled off of the block.
I like the quick move there by Grote. Again, she's trying to get to the outside, trying to make something happen with that block. She's about a half step late. That's why she sprays that ball out of bounds, but you can't fault the effort there. And this is Kylie Levers now for Pitt, as we talked about the fact that they do use 2 setters. Kylie Levers, the other setter, aside from Makeo. She's a redshirt senior, that one you mentioned, Courtney, that had the injury last season, missed all last year. And they said if there was any sort of silver lining to the COVID cloud, it's the fact that she really wasn't quite full strength in the fall. And with this season being pushed into the spring, she's not just back to where she was, she's actually getting better than what she was prior to the injury now. So excited for Kylie Levers to have this spring opportunity.
Yeah, and props to her. I mean, that means she really put in the work. She pushed herself, not to just with the focus of getting back to where she was, but to keep being better for this team. It's paying off. Oh, that one just barely dropped out, and so it will be a point for Washington.
And you said it moments ago, how important it was for Washington to get Samantha Drexel going. There's another kill for her. They really need her offense. She is a very unique talent, and that as a right side player, she plays in all 6 rotations. They really depend on her front row and back.
Yeah, only one attacking error right now for her. Washington making a run here, trying to catch back up to Pittsburgh, who has controlled most of this opening set. Well, the NBA is on ESPN tonight for a special edition doubleheader. 7:30 Eastern, Warriors versus the 76ers. 10 Eastern, Jazz versus the Lakers. Coverage begins with Stephen A's pregame Sports Center at 7. Then it's Monday night NBA at 7:30 and 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Washington has strung together 3 straight points. They're on a 4-1 run. What's different about the Huskies right now?
You know, I like the fact that they were able to score with some defense there when things were just not going smoothly for them, when offensively they had LMA Powell on the run and a lot of one-option situations. Sometimes the pass isn't there, so you got to be gritty. You got to find ways to score points. They do it with a couple of defensive plays, and then they carry that momentum with them back to the service line.
Now, Keegan Cook should be pretty happy with this turnaround that Washington's making, Holly.
Yeah, you know, they were here late last night, as you guys were talking about. It's a quick turnaround, their shortest turnaround of the season. He said they let the players get to bed. They did show them a little film last night, but then they did have an early breakfast, a big film session. And I can tell you this, being here in this arena, this energy helps. There's a crowd here, there's fans here, and they just have to kind of wake up and get going. It's a quick turnaround, but they've finally started to feel some juice.
Yeah, Holly, that's a great point. This is the first time we're seeing fans outside of the tickets allotted to the team, so we can have a max of 4,000 fans. And you can see the red sprinkled in. Nebraska is coming up later today, approximately 2:30 Eastern. So I'm sure the Omaha faithful will be in the arena cheering for Nebraska, but getting to see some really good volleyball here with this first match. To the corner, and it's in.
Maddie Ensley, only a freshman for this Washington team, has been in the top 3 in kills for them this season, swinging from the left side. They don't play her across the back row. She's a front row only player. I love that when a freshman has a chance to come in and really settle into a role. They haven't overloaded her, but she sure does do a lot offensively.
Scrappy defense from the Huskies to get it back, and then the block! The defense coming through for Washington. Maddie Ensley again.
It's not just a block, it is a solo one-on-one. Great setting choice here, giving your hitter that one-on-one opportunity, and just an even better block. Nothing wrong with that swing, but Inslee reaching back in, taking away the angle. That's elite level play.
And we have a challenge.
The coach from Pittsburgh is challenging whether there was contact by the block or there were 4 hits.
So they are going to look and make sure that the blocker touched this. This is the first challenge that has been used. Each team will get 3 challenges. If we go to a 5th set, they'll get an additional challenge. And we're looking at that first line where it's ball in out, contacting a player. That's what they're looking at right now for a touch on this ball. I think it might be earlier in the rally, Missy, to see if there were 4 contacts on the Washington side of the net before that block.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And the great thing about the challenge system now is that they can look at that entire play throughout its entirety and see if they see any issues there.
Well, Julie Vogt has made her decision. We'll see what it is.
The challenge by Pittsburgh's coach was successful. Point Panthers.
So 4 hits called there against Washington. And that is going to be a point for Pittsburgh. I was questioning myself because Coach Fisher didn't look exactly happy there. And so I wanted to make sure I had that right, but it is going to be a point for, it's hard to tell behind those masks. But Pittsburgh is going to get that point, a very crucial point to push them to 23.
Yeah, so the call was that there was no touch on that block earlier in the rally. So so Washington hit it 4 times. It is set point Pitt.
Again, we've seen some really nice pressure from the service line from Pitt here in set 1. It's just kept Washington on their heels.
Service error for Lund, a little bit long on it. Second set point for Pitt. Now Drexel's turn. Backside to Inde, the go-to, of course. She finishes, and Pitt holds off a run from Washington. They take the opening set 25-20.
The only unseeded team remaining, and they're going to go up 1 set. It's all Inde and Lund, the seniors. 5 kills for Inde, 4 for Lund. They continue to lead the way.
Pitt takes the opening set from Washington 25-20. I don't think anybody's surprised who's leading them in kills right now. Chinaza Inde, let's start with her with 5 kills.
And I'll tell you what, Pitt has 2 blocks right now. One of them belongs to Inde. She's got defense to go along with that offense, leading the way with those 5 kills on 9 swings for a .333 hitting efficiency after the first set. What a great tournament she is having. And then, of course, you pair her with the other senior, Kayla Lund, who's been a big part of the pressure that Pitt has put on from the service line. She's got an ace to show for her efforts there. She has the other block that belongs to Pitt, and her offense always superb. Gotta love the tip shots that she's throwing in as well.
So Pitt takes the opening set, a spot in the national semifinal on the line. Pitt has never been there before, as you see the numbers from Kayla Lund. And she, Inde, 2 of the big leaders, the big players on the floor for this Pitt team.
They combined for 9 of the 14 kills that Pitt had there in set 1. Washington only 10 kills and hit 129 in set 1. That number will have to improve.
Lever sends it to the outside, and Kayla Lund. If you're Washington, though, I think we saw some good signs. Their defense really helped them get back in and make a little run late in that first set.
Washington is going to be at their best when you see LMA Powell at the net setting the ball. She continues to be on the run right now. Again, there she is out at the 3-meter line trying to make a play on the ball.
That one was tight. She could only set it with one hand, and that makes it tough on your middle.
And I almost feel like LMA Powell a little gun shy now. She doesn't release all the way to the net there for that tight pass because she's almost expecting the pass off the net. She's been on the run, and you start to think that maybe you should just hang out around the 3-meter line. Obviously, they want that tight pass to the net.
Fifth service error for Pitt. Shannon Crenshaw will step back. First full season as the libero. She has improved a lot. We'll see if she can help Washington go on a run. Not if that's going to happen. That's a good pass and an example of running your middle off that good pass, Sabrina Starks.
I really like the finding the middle there with the perfect pass, and yet Starks runs that quick ball that splits the blocker. She doesn't go right down the middle. That's something that I felt Pitt had a lot of success with yesterday as well. They forced that middle blocker to at least have to take a step. We saw Wokolo behind the setter several times. That time you see Starks out in front, but they're still forcing the defender to have to make a move.
Starks is going to set that with her hands. Vasquez Gomez tips over the block. They'll get an out-of-system swing from Drexel. And they're going to call a net violation on Pitt. Let's go down to Holly.
Well, guys, you saw junior Sabrina Starks of Pittsburgh in on a lot of action right there, and the crowd is really cheering for her. It's just crazy. They're playing Pitt, but she's from Springfield, Nebraska, which is about 20 minutes away. She has a huge cheering section here. Her parents, half the people from her high school. This Pitt crowd is loud and excited. A little hometown flavor for the Pittsburgh Panthers.
How cool is that to get to come here already making history with your team? So that's even more cool, and doing it in front of your hometown fans.
Lots of disappointment last year when they didn't get to play in the finals in Pittsburgh, but this has to feel like a great reward for Sabrina Starks to get to be here in Nebraska.
Yeah, Pitt eliminated early last year in the second round by Cincinnati, not letting that same fate happen this season in the tournament. Day off of that block.
And that's what I like about Nde. She has the ability to go sharp angle. We've seen her absolutely thump balls in the middle of the floor, but then just the really smart swing. There's absolutely no defense for a ball high off the blocker's hands up into the bleachers.
Maddie Inslee has had some nice swings and has found success over on the left side. Just a freshman.
Inslee has a whole lot of game as a youngster, and you just get that feeling she is going to be one of the faces of this program moving forward.
Got a little scratch on her arm, so they'll take care of that over on the Washington bench. Oh, that was pretty. That was really pretty. Chiamaka Wokolo going behind the setter.
And that's what we alluded to just moments ago, Courtney, and that she's not running straight at her setter and taking the fastball out of her hands, but instead that step behind. And what it does is it creates a blocking error. It's, you know, it's not a big change, but you force that middle blocker to have to make a movement rather than running straight at them. Wokolo has been so good at that in this tournament. I really feel like she's been one of the X factors for Pitt. You know what you're going to get from Lund and Nde, but Wokolo has been an X factor in this tournament.
Yeah, she had a career-high 13 kills, hit, 647 yesterday.
Great view, look at this. And you can see the blocker for Washington, number 1 there, Lauren Sanders, is leaning to her left because in transition, Wokolo so quickly gets behind the setter. And that creates the success. Really hard work in transition, paying off for Wokolo. Just like that, again, you see how hard she works to get off the net, to be available in transition. And we have seen some of the great teams in this tournament have been taken down because of some fantastic middle blocker play. It is so hard to defend that quick middle block attack, and we've seen that in order to be successful deep in the tournament, you got to have it.
And Missy, even when they're not going to her, she demands the attention of the defense, so that's going to help your pin attackers.
That's exactly right. It's what we saw from Breon Butler yesterday from Texas. How much attention she demands opens up her pins. Those are the teams that are having success.
Pitt block asserting itself. And Washington's going to call a timeout. Pitt has looked confident here in the regional final, looking to continue their historic run. Second set here in Omaha, Nebraska. Pitt on top by 4 after taking that opening set from Washington. They have driven a pretty long road already in this tournament. Had to play in the first round, a couple of back-to-back sweeps, knocked off the 14 seed Utah, and then the huge victory yesterday for Dan Fisher's crew, a 5-set win over number 3 seed Minnesota to get to this point.
And we mentioned for Washington back-to-back ACC opponents, but for Pitt, this is their second Pac-12 opponent of the tournament, as they already took out Utah.
Kayla Lund is blocked.
It's Groth this time up there at the net with the block, and this is feeling a little bit familiar to set 1. And we saw Washington struggling a bit offensively, using that big block to get back into it. And you see the length of Groth there at 6'4".
Claire Hoffman gets some hands.
Very smart swing there by Hoffman. As only one option for Washington, LMA Powell does a great job. Even though it's just one option, she sets a very hittable ball. Her placement is always so good. And so still able to get an attack out of that.
And then you follow it up with the ace from LMA Powell.
And this is going to be a key for Washington. Can they create the kind of pressure from behind the service line that we saw from Pitt in the first set in order to string together some points?
That right there is the 5th point off of LMA Powell's serve today. Four straight points for Washington to tie it up. It was a one-handed set, too, from Akeo, and she's got a consistent middle in Wokolo.
And you know Lexus Akeo loves that opportunity to go up there with one hand. They said they call her Tricky Lexus. She loves to make the tricky play. They have to remind her sometimes the best play is the easy play. Well, that time they needed the tricky play right there. She can't take it over. She's out of the back row, so she's going up with one hand, doing everything she can just to save that ball.
Wokolo has scored the last 5 points for Pitt. Unfortunately, she rotates out. It's Sabrina Starks in the middle right now. And Kayla Lund is blocked. This Washington block keeps coming up at important times.
I'll tell you what, the Grote block combined with the LMA Powell's serve here in the second set is what has allowed Washington right back into this one. So it hasn't necessarily happened with offense, but pressure from the service line and some great defense at the net.
3 blocks now for Maren Grote. And the service game is complementing it so well. Washington takes the lead.
Confidence builds at the service line as now Washington racking up some aces.
Kayla Lund comes back with force.
I like the change of pace there from Pittsburgh. Rather than that high ball to the outside, they set her in a gap set, so she's able to split the middle blocker, the outside blocker, a much faster offense. And I really feel like Lund, and then opposite her, Vasquez Gomez, they have a little bit of an unorthodox arm swing, and I think until you play against them live, it can be hard to adjust to how to block them, but we're seeing that Washington block starting to make adjustments.
This will be a free ball. Oh, it goes back over. Levers to the outside, and Lund with the toolkit use.
Wow, beautiful shot by Lund. Absolute senior play. It's not always the hard hit ball, it's the well-placed ball. And look how well she sees the court. They're asking their off blocker to release for off speed. And so that is gonna open up that spot on the court. Great communication amongst Pittsburgh to let Lund know that, and awesome execution.
Attacking error. And Missy, I haven't seen a big difference too when they make the switch at setter. Difference from Akeo and Levers. They both seem to be on the same page with all their hitters.
Courtney, that is a fantastic point, because I would just absolutely agree. I have to almost check to see who's out there. You don't notice a change in rhythm or flow at all. That is just a great point.
Let's go down to Holly.
Well, guys, there's a good reason. Remember, you talked about Kylie Livers had that torn ACL in 2019, wasn't really back and wasn't herself, and that threw Lexis Akeo in the fire. The 5'8" freshman had to come in and had to handle all that setting. All of the pressure was on her shoulders. So because of that injury, now they're both a little bit better and just not even missing a beat out here.
How about taking the positive out of something that could have been a negative, an injury, but then you're able to work through it and getting the consistency thanks to Akeo being able to run last season. That's a great point too, Holly. Now 5 straight points for Pitt. Yeah, I'd say they look pretty comfortable in their first ever regional final. Washington will call its final timeout in this set. Pittsburgh took the opening set 25-20.
This is a really big push here by Pittsburgh, because you felt like Washington, that door had been opened, but all of a sudden Pittsburgh a 4-point lead.
Well, on Tuesday, make sure you catch an MLB matchup as the Mets take on the Cubs. The first of a 3-game series at Wrigley begins at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. This is how our portion of the bracket looks. If you're looking at a bracket at home, we are in the top right quadrant right now. The winner of Pitt and Washington moves on to face Purdue or Kentucky. That will be a late match. Kentucky was playing late into the night, but they got the sweep over their in-state rival, Western Kentucky.
Yeah, what a fun one that was, to watch the battle of the Bluegrass State. And of course, we saw Louisville push deep into this tournament. So what a great showing for the state of Kentucky. Really impressive. And you see there a couple SEC teams still alive in that section of the bracket. So a good showing for that conference as well.
And there's some Nebraska fans, of course, already. We are going to have an amazing battle for you in our next match, Nebraska and Texas. So much history. It'll be their 6th meeting in the NCAA tournament. That is coming up approximately 2:30 Eastern here on ESPN2.
Texas, the only Big 12 team remaining, and Nebraska, one of 3 out of the Big 10 still in this dance.
That swing goes long and the run continues. Pittsburgh has grabbed the momentum. There have been flashes from Washington, but not enough to string together a run.
Washington has just looked a little bit one-dimensional, and it's based on their pass. And the more one-dimensional they become, the easier they become to defend.
Drexel on the right pin. She terminates off the block.
Really nice use of the hands, because that Pitt block was right there, just awaiting her swing. And so it's going to take an elite swing to use those blockers' hands.
Pancake by Crenshaw. And Drexel, too long. She had that powerful block in her face. Did not get the touch.
Beautiful pancake, though, by the libero there, Crenshaw for Washington. And then opposite her, we really haven't mentioned that libero for Pitt either. Ashley Browski out there with a gorgeous transition dig, just keeping this team in system. And sometimes when you don't notice the liberos, it means they're just doing such a great job. Everyone's in system. You don't even notice them. They just go about their job quietly.
Yeah, Browski for Pitt already has 4 digs and 3 assists, so she has been a major factor in this Pitt offense.
Browski, she actually had a tough day yesterday. Dan Fisher told me before the match, hey, she just wasn't herself. We've got to get our bro going. She's got to be comfortable and got to be the steady player we know she is. And Browski's done a good job here. You said it best. If you don't notice her, it means she's doing her job. I think my only disappointment in her at all is that her name is not pronounced Broski, because a libero with Broski, that would have been the best name ever.
Oh my gosh.
Just a little disappointed, that's all.
What a missed opportunity, really.
Should we ask her if she's considered changing the pronunciation? I mean, I think it might be worth it.
Just stick it in the game notes. Washington has tried the slide a few times, but Pittsburgh has been ready for it, and then they get a block on the opposite pin.
That Pittsburgh block, I'm just not sure that I was prepared for that. I am so impressed with their discipline at the net. I mean, I feel like you've always got 4 hands in front of you. It speaks to the speed of their middles and their ability to close every single time. I mean, that's a great look at Wokolo and Ende together right there.
And they only get statted for 1 block there, but they had a couple of block touches in that rally. It is affecting Washington. Meanwhile, Pitt is using the Washington block.
Vasquez Gomez there, the redshirt freshman out of Puerto Rico. Nice play up by Ende to keep her team in system. And right down the line, Vasquez Gomez an opportunity against Washington's setter, who does play across the front row, and they're going to do everything they can to take advantage of it.
Vasquez Gomez, 3 kills, no attacking errors. Ooh, some power from the freshman Maddie Inslee.
Feeling the urgency here in that middle of the second set from Inslee, as she knows she's got an opportunity here. I like the tempo of this ball from Powell. Goes ahead and just shoots it all the way across court. Really nice push. Wokolo, hello.
It is going to be a point for Washington as Pitt was called in the net.
Here we're going to get another look at it. On the follow through, absolutely. That's a pretty easy call for the up official. But it was still a lot of fun to watch.
It was fun. And I'm glad we got to see it again. Short serve, yeah, that hit the floor. That is an ace again for Washington. They've got 5 aces. Just 1 service error for the Huskies. And they've strung together 3 straight points. We saw Washington make a little bit of a push at the end of that first set, but they couldn't finish it off.
Courtney, all season long we talk to these coaches, and the first thing they talk about is the serve pass battle. Absolutely no different here in this tournament, and you just see the difference that the service pressure can create, allowing you to hold serve, if you will, to score off of your own serve. That's where Washington has struggled. They're finally able to string together a couple here.
And we've seen how their block can be a game changer for them. It has made its presence known. 5 team blocks right now for the Huskies.
Yeah, I've been so impressed with the way they've used their block to gain some momentum when things have felt a little out of sync. Their middles have done a great job. And then how about 18 there? The freshman Inslee left all alone, reaching back in with an elite level play. Out of the middle, we've seen both Sanders and Grote really contribute.
Washington didn't go on a 4-0 run to tie it in this set at 8-all. They've scored 3 points in a row here, trailing by 4. It is the first to 25.
And Courtney, we talked so much about the physical drain yesterday and then, of course, the emotional drain. And we said, what will the response of these teams be coming into this one? And I really feel like I haven't seen a flat emotional response from either of these teams. They have really risen to the occasion of the challenge of this quick turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of these teams playing 5-set marathons yesterday. And there's a double contact called on Pitt.
And guess what? It's that Washington block again over there. Claire Hoffman getting in on the action.
Calais keeps it going with her serve. Good up from Crenshaw. And an attacking error from Ende. That is a rare sight, but Washington will take it.
That ball is set inside. It's going to give an advantage to the blockers. She no longer has that line option available. All she can do is go angle, and she's got blockers just waiting on her.
5 straight now for Washington. And you go back to her, and she gets it done.
And you saw there a much higher set, closer to the antenna, gave her more court to work with. And didn't you just get the feeling Ende kind of wanted that one right back? She was like, give me another shot at this before I exit the match.
9 kills, 222 hitting right now. She's got a couple of blocks and a couple of digs. Akayo serving. LMA Powell pushes it out to Hoffman. And a great setup for Jordan Lockwood.
And how about that? Jordan Lockwood, who swings from the right side for them in transition out there in serve receive. They don't hesitate to give her a look, and she swings with such confidence.
Well, she's delivered in big moments before. Dan Fisher said they won the JUCO National Championship last year at Navarro College. She has been in high-pressure situations like this tournament.
I think playing alongside somebody like Ende has got to help. Ende said after their match yesterday, we're not tentative. That's not who we are. And if I'm a young player, that's what I want to hear from my seniors. Someone who is saying, go out there, take a rip at it, give it all you got.
Vasquez Gomez. How about that ripped? And Kayla Lund added to that, Missy, she said, we're a decently feisty team. That's a direct quote. I loved that line. We're decently feisty. We've got some energy with us.
Yeah, she said they've really balanced the idea of being the underdog and yet believing in themselves. And I really liked that concept of, yeah, they might be the underdog, they are the unseeded team, but they certainly believe they can do it. So they got a little chip on their shoulder, and that's really the attitude they've brought to the court. A few misses here with Wokolo and the setter late in the second set have hurt Pitt a bit.
Lund inside the court, and Pitt leads at 23. Oh, excuse me. I thought it was touch. There was no touch on that ball.
With Wokolo for Pitt, I think the only danger is not setting her high enough. She's such a great jumper. They've missed low to her a couple times in what I think could have been point opportunities for Pitt.
Crenshaw goes with the bump set to Drexel. Lund on the chase. Tried to swipe it off the block, but missed.
Lund with a whole lot of out-of-system looks in that long rally, and she's going to need this timeout right here.
Yeah, so Pitt is going to call a timeout. Washington within 2. NBA Friday's doubleheader features some of the hottest teams in the NBA. 7:30 Eastern, Celtics Nets. 10:30 Eastern, Nuggets versus the Warriors. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7. Then it's go time at 7:30 and 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Kayla Lund right now, the 2-time ACC Player of the Year, Holly, and she's got 7 kills for Pitt.
everything for this team. She is really the best player on the team with 17 kills, 10 digs in their upset win over Minnesota yesterday. It was her 9th double-double of the year. But not only that, she leads the team in digs, she leads the team in service aces, leads the team in attacks. Like, everything they need, she's able to provide it. I was asking people on their group, hey, why is she such a good overall all-around player? And they said she played every single sport growing up, really got her start in soccer, but really just an overall great athlete, and it shows in her play, able to dominate in all those categories.
Yeah, Holly, I was reading about her background, 5 different sports before she discovered volleyball. And I feel like college coaches love multi-sport athletes, though.
Absolutely. We hear them talk about it all the time, how it develops you as a well-rounded player. And that certainly is what Holly alluding to there, how well-rounded you are when you've developed so many different athletic skills.
Washington right on Pitt's heels. Down by 2, going to 25. Ella May Powell serving. Free ball. That was a pretty hefty dig by Calais. And there's the connection. Wokolo is able to turn that into a point.
And that, Courtney, not even a full swing, and yet she still converts it to a point. So if you can just get her an opportunity to take a swing at the ball, good things will happen for Pitt. You saw early in that rally, she had to tip one, and really credit the Washington libero, Crenshaw, who's reading that so well. She's seeing her drop her elbow. She's seeing that there's no shot available, and she's doing a great job of picking up those off-speed shots.
All 5 of Wokolo's kills have come here in set 2. Powell backside, success with Claire Hoffman.
And again, I think Pitt just looking a little out of rhythm with their offensive connection. Several times here we've seen players have to use an open hand tip shot, haven't been in position to take a rip at the ball. It's created free ball opportunities for Washington, and they convert on that one with a great pass. Send it on back to Claire Hoffman.
That's a good connection, and that is Sabrina Starks.
Alexis Okeo hanging one up there for Starks, letting her take a rip out of it. Again, we're seeing the success that comes along with the ability to set the middles for Pitt. Establish your offense in the middle, then open up the pens.
Set point Pitt. Kylie Levers behind the service line. Free ball. Oh, and Sabrina Starks was all about that. Set 2, going to Pitt.
Did we mention Pitt, the only unseeded team remaining, and now they go up 2-0. I'll tell you what, the Washington block really tried to keep themselves in this one. It was alive early, they made a push, but in the end, just too much Pitt in set 2 as Inde continues to be on fire.
Pitt had 18 kills in the second set. Washington has 18 kills in this match. Got to regroup here, and was it an out of rotation call on Washington? Oh, a foot fault on the serve. Anyway, the point goes to Pitt. Let's go down to Holly.
Well, guys, that is a huge deal right there. I was just getting ready to say that Maria Bogomova being in right there in that moment could help them get some momentum. She took them on that run that helped them win set 5 last night with a 7-0 run, serving them to this victory. And that's a huge deal for her to foot fault there, and that kind of takes away some of their steam.
Yeah, you're right, Holly. Bogomolova, excuse me, was such a spark plug for Washington in that 5th set, a 7-point serving run. And you could see the emotions on her face after that victory. And Keegan Cook says she just spends so much of her time working to help this program in any way she can, and that was great payoff. Claire Hoffman on the left pin.
Claire Hoffman leading the way right now for for Washington. She's got 8 kills. She's the leader for the Huskies right now. It's taken her 26 attempts to get there. So Pitt doing a pretty good job against her.
Inde looking for high hands, but too much. Washington has to win this set to extend the match. If Pitt wins, they are moving on to the national semifinals for the very first time.
It's those balls dying inside that have tend to give Inde some trouble when she's had to come inside, doesn't have that line shot available to her. But when the middle is working, that is good news for Pitt. And you have to realize, anytime you want to use your middles that much over the course of the match, it's putting a huge premium on your ball control. So as we see Pitt able to run the middles, realize it's their backcourt who's doing something right. It's those backcourt defenders with beautiful passes, beautiful transition digs that are keeping this Pitt team in system.
And Wokolo and Starks, the 2 middles for Pitt, had 8 of their 18 kills in the second set. They played a big factor because they were able to get a nice pass and use them.
And I think there had to be some discussion after set 1 for how well Wokolo has played over the course of this tournament. You can't afford not to have her involved in the offense.
Wokolo is in the middle right now for Pitt. Drexel. Long, but it was touched.
And when we talk about getting the middles going for Pitt, for Washington, the answer might be getting Drexel going from the right side. I think for her, she's such a unique talent. You know, she has the ability to really put up big numbers for this Washington squad.
Inde on the outside. Hoffman, it was really tight, and she tipped it. So smart. Excuse me, that was Maddie Inslee.
The upper class look coming from the underclassmen as it's Inslee this time, and doesn't even use the right hand. How about that? Has that right hand up and then comes through with the left-handed tip. Really pretty.
Washington up by 2. Double contact called on Pitt.
A little sloppy for the Panthers right now. Certainly not the start they were hoping for.
And Dan Fisher sees it too. He is going to call a timeout, try to regroup here as Washington pushing in a must-win set number 3 for the Huskies.
Sports wagering has the potential to undermine the integrity of intercollegiate athletics and jeopardize the welfare of student athletes. For more information about the NCAA sports wagering educational resources, go to don'tbetonit.org.
We will step aside. Washington on top here in set number 3. Back here in Omaha at the NCAA Volleyball Championship, Washington a better start in this set. 3 kills, just 1 error. I know it's early on, but hitting 286, they needed an offensive spark.
Yeah, still hitting under 100 for the match, but that impressive 286 in this set alone. And it's Pitt who's hitting 0 in the third set with a very shaky start.
Yeah, Pitt has been the dominant team. It's been Washington trying to play catch up in this match. Not here in the third set, though.
Pitt taking a page out of Washington's playbook there. Things aren't going well offensively. Let's see if we can score a point with the block. And Wokolo does just that, being big and physical there at the net.
Team blocks even at 6 apiece. Oh, a service error for Alexis Akayo.
And you saw there on the bench for just a moment the volunteer assistant coach for Pitt, and that is Alexis Akayo's sister, Kamalani, who was a former setter for Pitt, a big piece of the puzzle in turning this Pitt program around under Dan Fisher. They are starting to really make a name for themselves.
Kamalani Akayo, the former ACC setter of the year. It's a pretty good resource to have on your bench, to have your sister right there helping you while you're being one of the main setters for Pitt this season.
I'd like to hear some of those heated discussions when she comes off the floor.
Me too. Wokolo too long. Pitt wants a touch. Dan Fisher has gone over to the down official, Julie Vogt. But he will not challenge this call. Pitt does have 2 challenges remaining. They've already used 1 and 1-1 in this match. And a kill for Drexel. Let's check in with Holly.
Guys, you were talking about the Akeo family and the impact that they have had here with Kamalani and Lexus on this Pitt program. They're a long way from home. They are from Kapolei, Hawaii, and their family comes to the matches. There's a huge group of them here. They fly from Hawaii frequently to Pittsburgh to make sure they can support their daughters. It's a huge turnaround for them.
Wow, what a commitment. That's a long flight all the way across the United States. And the weather's a little bit different too at Pitt than in Hawaii.
Pitt using the middle to get that much needed side out right here, Courtney.
Has come through for them many times today. Kayla Lund off the bump set, out.
Kayla Lund is so relied on in the out-of-system situations when there's only one option coming off of a bump set, and she tries to put a little force behind that one. She knows you can't afford to give teams free balls in the NCAA tournament, obviously not wanting to miss, but I like the way she's playing really aggressive. That time she has a little bit better look, a little more in system, and she's able to use those blockers' hands.
That's her 8th kill, but she is hitting 0, 8 attacking errors. Pitt's offense has trailed off in set number 3, hitting 0 in this set after winning the first 2.
Really nice push here from LMA Pal. As you notice, she was pulled all the way into right front. And so the easy thing to do is just to hang a ball up on that side of the court, but she doesn't do the easy thing. She does a smart thing there. Pushes it all the way out to the left pin. She leaves that Pitt blocker chasing, the middle blocker not able to close, and that creates a hole that their attacker can swing into.
Maddie Inslee has just looked comfortable the entire tournament, even though it's her first tournament as a freshman. And there's that Washington block.
And we said earlier that Washington looking a little too one-dimensional. Well, now all of a sudden it's Pitt, who's ball after ball to Lund. And guess what? This is all Ella Mae Powell, the setter at 6 foot there at the right pin. She reaches back in, takes away that angle shot. Beautiful.
And Pitt can't find anything right now. The swing is long from Sabrina Starks, who had been so consistent. That's her first attacking error. Pitt will use its 2nd time out. Washington looking like a different team, more like that team that we saw that fought in a 5-set battle with Louisville yesterday. This is just our first match of the day of 4. We've got a big one coming up. Nebraska coming into the building. They will take on Texas. I mean, talk about the history between these two. That is going to be the 6th meeting in the tournament between those 2 teams. Watching Pitt and Washington right now. Winner moves on to face either Purdue or Kentucky. But Missy, you got to be excited for Nebraska, Texas coming up.
I tell you what, you hear those 2 names and you're wondering if that's the national championship. They've got 7 titles between those 2 programs, so much volleyball history, and we're going to get to see it in the regional final. We don't have to wait till the national championship, so we've got a great one right around the corner.
And the question, though, I think everybody wants to know, will we see the 2-time All-American Lauren Stivrins play for Nebraska? We were told yesterday officially day-to-day with an undisclosed injury. We have not been told if she will play just yet. But props to Nebraska. They looked pretty good without her yesterday.
Wow, to get that sweep yesterday without Lauren Stivrins. They looked a little shaky to start. You have to realize anytime there's an adjustment to your lineup, I'm sure they're thinking just a little bit, but boy, did they settle in. And Nicklin Hames, she was a fighter. She led with emotion, and Lexi Sun led with her play.
That match coming up 45 minutes after we finish up this match. Much better.
Really well played by Alexis Akeo there. And you have to realize, as she's drifting off the net, that connection with the middle does become more difficult. So you see she's right at the net. She comes out to about the 5-meter line there as she drifts off the net. And so she has to really understand her spacing with Starks. And as she comes off the net, she's got to hang the ball a little higher. And if there's been an error in the setting for Pitt, there's been some balls that have maybe been too low for their attackers to take a full rip at. Not that time.
And that's key to get a response from Washington with Claire Hoffman. Washington has to win this set.
Yeah, great side out swing there by Claire Hoffman, because now Washington for the first time has really created themselves a nice cushion here in this third set. And so at this point, if they can play good side out volleyball, prevent any runs here from Washington, they're in the driver's seat.
Ende on the left side this time.
And that's one of the things I really like about Pitt. Their attackers are very confident from either antenna, and that gives you so many options in serve receive. We just don't regularly see Ende swing from that left pin, and yet what a smart swing as she goes for that zone there, a short ball along the net.
That was a quick swing from Maren Grote.
And a great defensive play there by Levers for Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, miscommunication after her contact and great effort. And that point will go to Washington. But yes, Grote doing a nice job on the attack.
And a block, and Grote is there too.
And guess who's at the service line? Ella May Powell again, who has been so good for Washington back there at the service line.
Their serve pass game has been inconsistent this season. They have found a little bit of rhythm though here in set number 3, and it comes at a perfect time.
What
Ende off the solo block.
Yeah, this is a gorgeous set by Kylie Levers. The ball is passed so tight. I'm thinking, can she even make a play on it? She doesn't just make a play. She sets the ball behind all the way out to the antenna. Not just a ball you can take a swing at, but a very killable ball for Ende. That was beautifully played by Levers.
Ende's got a match high 11 kills.
And maybe there could have been a play made on that ball by Ende. I think she lost it off of the dig there from Lund out of middle back. Just couldn't find the ball quick enough. Perhaps there was a play available, but that one really tough.
Keegan Cook, the head coach of Washington, said yesterday the key to their comeback win against Louisville was that they stayed together. When they were down, they didn't look like the same group, and they found their way out of it because of that experience of being together, of knowing how much work they have put in the gym. They can make those adjustments in the match.
Claire Hoffman serving so well, she forced Pitt into a two-passer situation. They make an adjustment in their serve receive, and it pays off. As you see, number 4 there, Browski steps in, passes a really nice ball, but they don't want to allow Washington runs, so they were very quick to make a change in serve receive. After one ace, we're going to change it up immediately, try to prevent any runs here from Washington.
So what did that change allow them to do offensively?
Well, it's a different look for the server. So sometimes it'll play with the server's mind as they look over there and see something different. And then it just maybe takes one passer who's not comfortable at that point in the match, not in a rhythm, takes them out of the passing lineup and just go ahead and give it to 2 people. You have to communicate less and let your 2 confident passers just step in.
Too long on the swing from Lockwood.
Washington really applying some pressure here in this third set. Pitt looked to be rolling, But right now, it's Washington making things happen from the service line. It started with Ella May Powell. Claire Hoffman followed it up. She had an ace in her run. And now you're getting a look there at Crenshaw, their libero, who also is going to rack up an ace here in this set.
That is a 7-2 run for Washington. The dive from Powell. Lockwood does get a kill, but Washington is hitting 529 in this set. That is an outrageous number.
And you see the extended huddle there for Pitt, as Kayla Lund had a lot to say to her teammates. At this point in set 3, even if you can't pull out the comeback, you're just looking to create some momentum if you're here, Pitt. You got to stop the bleeding. They are really letting Washington run away with this one.
Lund off the block.
And she backs up her pep talk with a little play, as she has a really nice swing there from the left side.
Yeah, Pitt has those senior leaders that we've talked about, Inde and Lund. Kylie Lever's one of their setters too, also a senior. Some smart play we have seen out of Maddie Inslee.
Yeah, you wouldn't pick her as a freshman, would you? When you watch her out there, the composure that she's brought to the floor, not trying to do too much with that one, the tip shot right into the blocker's hands.
She was comfortable right off the bat in this tournament. Made her debut with a career-high 20 kills against Dayton. And Washington is 2 points away from taking set 3. Wokolo, haven't seen that in a while.
There it is, the middle blocker attack, and once again, it's off of a perfect pass out of the backcourt from Pittsburgh. And so you're understanding how important that serve game is for Washington, and they've been able to create some stress. So you're judging those serves based on the stress that it creates on the offense, and not a lot of stress there as they easily work the ball to Wokolo.
Zoe Faki with a really tough serve, an ace for Pitt. They are getting a little momentum, still a lot of work to do.
Faki, a redshirt senior here for Pittsburgh, has been a big part of this program.
Set point, Washington.
And when it really looked like Pitt was just on a roll, up 2-0, Washington looks absolutely undaunted as they took the floor here in set 3, and they have been in control of this third set.
Emma Calais on the serve, set point for the Huskies. Lund tools the block, second set point for Washington.
Another good pass creates a one-on-one opportunity. It's a good, starts with the good pass, a good setting choice, and as you saw, the middle for Washington got held up there.
They get a good pass on it, and they go to the pin. Pitt's gonna have to hustle. Free ball back to the Huskies. Coming off a 1-foot Lauren Sanders, it hasn't worked yet until that point. In a critical point, Washington extends the match to 4 sets. Keegan Cook's squad wins it 25-16 in set 3. We'll see you for the 4th in a minute. Sending a team to the national semifinal. Who will be the first? Washington looking like a different team in that third set. They win it 25-16 to force a fourth. Courtney Lyle, Missy Whittemore, and Holly Rowe with you. Washington just looked different, Holly, in that third set.
We talked about that turnaround, how they had been playing here till after 7 o'clock last night, and it just has taken some time, but I'll tell you this, their bench is totally different. The energy is big. They took some snacks, some energy. They're yelling, and their energy is completely turned around here.
Yeah, it's been impressive to watch how both of these teams responded after such long matches yesterday. This is how it broke down. Pittsburgh played for 2 hours and 46 minutes. They ended just before 4 p.m. Eastern. Washington, they played for 2 hours and 34 minutes and didn't finish until 7:20 last night. And you've got to turn around for a noon Eastern first serve.
Wow, that's a full day.
And Pittsburgh's block gets its first point on the board. Washington's offense was a lot more effective, Missy, in that third set.
Absolutely. Their three leaders, Drexel, Inslee, Hoffman, each go for 4 kills apiece. And we said coming in, this was such a well-rounded team, and I think they played to their strength in that third set. A really equal distribution of the sets, something that LMA Pal is so good at, but if the passing was better, and so it allowed her to put her hitters in better one-on-one situations. That time, using Drexel out of the back row, LMA Pal, something we haven't seen a lot of. And the good news for Washington, they end set 3 on a kill from their middle blocker, and they start set 4 on a slide kill out of the middle. So picking up where they left off, establishing just enough middle offense to help their pins out.
You mentioned it too, their serving game really helped them. They scored 14 points off of their serve in the third set. And a net violation on the Huskies.
When Sabrina Starks is serving, that means Wokolo has checked back into the front row for Pittsburgh, and they certainly need to get her going.
That ball gets caught up between the block and the net of Wokolo, though, and it's a point for Drexel and Washington.
Little frustration there from Wokolo as she's making the move to her right. She inadvertently drifts off the net, creating some space there, and she's not able to get the penetration that she needed.
Washington will have to win this set as well after Pitt took the first 2. And that was way too tight, and Washington's block loved it.
Absolutely smothers that one, as they well should. That's a setting mistake, and that it's too tight to the net. I like the choice in the set, trying to send one behind, but you can see the ball actually travels over the net. And so Washington has a big advantage there.
Maddie Inslee, number 18 in that white jersey for Washington, has come on as a huge threat late in this match for the Huskies.
That was a really smart swing by Vasquez Gomez there on the left pin for Pitt. I didn't really think she had an opportunity to do much with that ball, but it's that nice high swing, finding hands, that allows her to score a point.
Akayo on the serve. Overpass. And guess who? Vasquez Gomez.
Taking care of business at the net. But as we've seen, the service line has been a determining factor in these sets, and that's a KO back there, creating some chaos.
Marin Grote out of the middle.
It was Sanders who started things off offensively out of the middle for Washington, and now Grote following suit. And this is a team who's going to get the majority of their offense from the pins, no doubt. But if they can get their middles involved, they are all the more dangerous.
Lockwood does get a touch. You know, Dan Fisher talked to this Pittsburgh team in that 5-set match against Minnesota. Just keep being yourself. Don't try to do too much. He said that's going to be the key for us in advancing in this tournament, is to just be us, not try to be somebody else. And I think we saw Pitt get a little bit away from themselves in that third set.
Absolutely, 7 attack errors from Pitt in that third set, Courtney. Really undisciplined swings from them. And now we've seen 2 kills early in this one that have been balls high off blockers' hands. In set 3, those were going for errors. In set 4, looking a little more disciplined here early. But it's Washington with the 1-point lead right now.
Lund well inside the court. Tooling the block.
That's what Lund does so well, and she has to do it well because she is that player that is going to have to swing at the out-of-system looks. Time and time again, 2 blockers, 4 hands right in front of her face, and she has perfected that swing off blockers' hands. You see there she has the 10 hitting errors to go along with her 10 kills. And you do have to realize when you look at that, there as that 0-1 outside hitter, she is in a lot of really tough situations.
Now you're going to get a lot of junk set out to you on that pin. Inslee just keeps being tough. 11 kills for Maddie Inslee, hitting .269 as she rotates out. Block adjustment. Was that Ella Mae Powell up there?
All by herself. That was Ella Mae Powell. And I think what's happening here is the Lund is realizing that she has a look against one block. She's taken a really big rip. And Ella Mae Powell is adjusting her block, stepping in, taking away the angle shot. So really elite play by Powell.
And then another attacking error for Pitt. Jordan Lockwood trying to go down the line. And Pitt is going to call timeout. Washington up 9-6 here in set number 4. Three different players for Washington with double-figure kills, and the total attempts for each of these 2 is pretty even. That means Ella Mae Powell is doing a good job distribution-wise.
Yeah, it's really a great reflection of their season and a great reflection of their success is Ella Mae Powell's ability to distribute evenly, to look for the good matchups, makes really good decisions, good tempo, and you pair that with the fact that she's a great floor leader, and that's why she's one of the best.
4 straight points for Washington. They have looked like a different team in sets 3 and now sets 4. Again, Huskies have to win this set. Lockwood off the block.
Lockwood, one of those players, you're not going to get tons of offense from her at the right pin, but wow, she can just even things out up there. She forces that defense to have to stay honest, to have to defend from pin to pin. She's a great example of how we've talked about Pitt just playing within themselves. No one player has to do it all.
Kylie Levers back serving. Lauren Sanders trying to go off of 1 foot, not far enough. That Pitt block comes up big.
Starks and Lund with the nice press, and it was Starks, her movement to her left, does a great job closing there. Gotta love the effort of these middles as they have worked so hard coming off of those 5-setters yesterday. If there's anybody that's feeling it, it's gotta be those middles.
On the outside, Claire Hoffman, the All Pac-12 selection, had 20 kills yesterday against Louisville, and Hoffman's got 12 today.
Coach said he actually pulled her from her red shirt at her freshman year, pulled her out of that red shirt situation. The team needed her. And boy, can't you see why, how solid she is now as a junior for them. So much experience.
Bogomolova on the serve. She's the one that got them on that run yesterday. And Hoffman tried to push it into the block, but it's going to be a point, Pitt.
And that was Lund that time, as she stayed out at the right pin. You saw Indy stay at the left pin. They didn't make their switches there after transition, just didn't really have time. And that's a luxury if you're Pitt, to have players who just feel so confident from either side of the court.
Tip out of the middle. Washington able to shut down Vasquez Gomez on that left side.
Really nice execution here by Grote. She's closing alongside Powell. And see how they turn that ball back in. Maybe too many people in position to make a play on this ball. If you're Pitt, Indy reaches not knowing there's someone right behind her.
And a bad pass results in an ace for Washington. Pitt is going to call timeout. Washington has all the momentum. They looked locked in, and they're playing clean volleyball right now, putting Pitt on its heels.
I think that's really the key, Courtney, is just how clean we are seeing the performance from Washington right now, just putting a lot of pressure on Pittsburgh.
Well, the NBA is on ESPN tonight for a special edition doubleheader, 7:30 Eastern, Warriors versus the 76ers. And then at 10 Eastern, the Jazz versus the Lakers. Coverage begins with Stephen A's pregame Sports Center at 7. Then it's Monday night NBA on 7:30 and 10 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Remember, this is a Washington team who's coming off of 2 5-setters here in this tournament. So they are absolutely not afraid to push this match along.
Yeah, and Holly Washington being led by Ella Mae Powell right now, their setter.
She has been absolutely terrific. Part of the Pitt plan was to attack her when she was in the front row. At 6 feet, she's a little bit undersized, but she has shown up. Look at this solo block. She's telling them with no regrets, you can't pick on me. No, not this time. I love the tenacity she is showing at the net, making that game plan backfire just a little bit. And here she is back serving for Washington. They've got a ton of momentum thanks to her.
Missy, you were a setter. I mean, how good does it feel to go up and get that block as a setter?
I mean, there's nothing you like more. And what I like about her is how disciplined she's being with her hands. So when she's not getting the stuff block, she's not allowing them to use her easily. The stuff blocks are great, but the discipline of her hands, not allowing them to score easy points off of her, is just huge.
Drexel behind the setter. Other side with Hoffman. Nice dig by Browski. Drexel off hands.
Nice high swing by Drexel. Pitt able to get a piece of it, and then oftentimes what happens, the blocker is the only one in the arena who doesn't know where the ball is, right above their head, and so Pitt misses an opportunity to play one here off the block. That's a really tough get right there, because it's just a great swing from Washington.
3 straight points for the Huskies. Stops there with a swing from Chiende.
And I tell you what, if Pitt ever needed the energy of Inde, it's right here. They could use some emotional pickup from their leader.
Remember, if Pitt wins this set, they win the match. Washington has to win to force a 5th. They've already played 2 5-setters, Washington has in the tournament.
It's another really disciplined swing from Drexel. We're seeing it from the right pin. We're seeing it from the left pin. She is just doing a great job of navigating her way around this Pitt block, which we said early on. We said, wow, I didn't necessarily see that Pitt block coming in terms of its dominance in set 1 and 2. But now you're seeing Drexel find those shots around the block, off the block, using those hands.
And we knew she was going to be key. Came into this match hitting 0.68 in the tournament. Well, that has changed today. She is hitting 3.57.
You really knew at some point things were going to turn for her. She's just an elite player, led them in kills all season long, and of course she's going to be at the top of everyone's scouting report because of that. So when defenses are keyed on you, it's an opportunity in this tournament for some of those other players who maybe haven't been highlighted throughout the season to really shine, and so credit to her teammates for taking advantage of that.
This must be fun for Ella May Powell because she's got a lot of weapons right now to work with who are firing on all cylinders.
And she just does a great job of moving the ball around. It has to be difficult to be that pit blocker. You really just don't know where she's going to go with it, and the delivery is so consistent.
Oh, the up from Crenshaw keeps it going. Just wide for Vasquez Gomez.
Wow, great idea by Vasquez Gomez, who got stuck over there at the right pin. And what was happening is those were really difficult looks. The ball was dying inside. She really felt like her only look was angle. She tried it once, tried it twice, and on the third one tries to place it down the line, but it goes wide. Unfortunately, Washington's response is going to be another service error. In this set alone, Courtney, it's Pitt who has 6 kills, 5 errors. Not a great ratio, whereas Washington, 11 kills to only 4 errors.
Yeah, and Pitt had 7 attacking errors in set 3, and it was Washington winning that set. Service error for Pitt.
They're going to give Vasquez Gomez just a moment there to catch her breath.
Good hustle from Drexel, but the arm swing too much from Wokolo.
Wokolo went quiet there in set 3. Set 2, she came to life. They didn't need her much in set 1. Set 2, she came to life. Went a little quiet there in set 3. Some errors as they weren't able to connect with the setter. Pitt trying to get her going.
First time we've seen Powell try to dump in this game. Ooh! Kayla Lund! That's spicy.
Takes it on 2, and I really like it because why give the defense a chance to think when you can just go ahead and drill it right back at them?
And after that one, timeout is called. Washington up 18-14 here in set 4. Huskies have to win this set to extend the match.
You could say Pitt's been their own worst enemy in sets 3 and 4 with the errors that we've seen, but you'd have to make sure you credit that Washington serve. They really seemed to hit a groove in the third set with their serve, and the key is that it wasn't just one individual. It was server after server, stepping back to the service line and creating a real consistent pressure. They just didn't take their foot off the gas in that third set.
Well, on Tuesday, you can catch an MLB matchup as the Mets take on the Cubs. The first of a 3-game series at Wrigley begins at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Of course, we are in Omaha, Nebraska, the home of the Men's College World Series. Didn't get to see it last year, but excited for this season. Not far away. Usually doing the volleyball tournament, we would be far away from the College World Series, but not this year. This is how our bracket shapes up right now. We are looking to send the first team to the national semifinals. Pittsburgh or Washington will face the winner of Purdue, Kentucky. We'll have that match for you later tonight over on ESPNU. Pitt with the serve. Zoe Faki back there for the Panthers. If they can come back and win this set, they move on.
These are the lone representatives from the ACC and the Pac-12 remaining in the tournament, so only one conference will advance.
off of the block. I'm a big fan of Maddie Inslee today. She has been solid.
Wow, how about that? She was swinging into 3 blockers there, Courtney, something that we've seen Pitt do. They will often go ahead and bring their left side all the way over to help on that block. That's what they do in that rotation. And Inslee, the freshman, absolutely playing at a high level.
She's hitting .310, 13 kills. Jordan Lockwood is going to respond on the right pin.
Lockwood, really a nice piece of offense here in the 3rd and 4th set when they've needed it, when some of their other hitters have gone cold. I feel like Lockwood has been consistent.
And a net violation. When Levers went to set that ball, she fell into the net.
It was the Pitt players motioning for an over the net violation. They felt that their player was in position to make a play on the ball, and if it hasn't crossed the plane of the net, which I'm not sure that it did, then that would actually be a violation against Washington. However, instead, they call Pitt into the net, which they may have been in the net. I'm not saying that they weren't, but Pitt felt that the first violation there was the over the net violation. And this is a judgment call. It is not something that can be challenged.
So you see Kayla Lund, number 23 in that blue jersey, is talking to the up official, Michelle Prater. She's the only one that can approach the stand as the floor captain. And Dan Fisher talking to the down official. So they can challenge that it was touched.
Touched, there you go, absolutely. We've seen over the course of the tournament several times, this has been a key issue as you see players maybe getting a little antsy to reach on over there and try to finish off a play. And yet until that ball crosses the plane of the net, you can't reach over and take away Pitt's ability to make a play on that ball.
They can look over in this review and see if Lauren Sanders, number 1 in the white jersey, when she went over, if she touched the ball. That's what they can look at. I think she does.
Yeah, I think so too.
The ball is still on Pitt's side of the floor, and she gets over and touches the ball. If there was not a touch on this, they could not change it, but because there is a touch, that's what they're looking at.
Wow, so interesting, Courtney, that touch challenge comes into play in this particular instance.
Again, the original call was that after this happened, Pitt was in the net, which they were, but this happened first. So that is what Dan Fisher is challenging, and she touches the ball while that Sabrina Starks is trying to set it.
A lot of credit to Sabrina Starks for being aware of the situation. She sort of draws that player over the net by going up as a non-setter and trying to make a play on the ball up above the net. I really like the fact that she was very aware of what was going on and not afraid to go up and make a set on the ball. There's a lot of hitters who would not be confident enough to go up above the net and try to make a set on the ball.
So Julie Vogt will make her way across the court and give us the call here. Yes, so it is blocking the set, and it will be a point for Pitt. Because there was contact, they could go back and look for the touch. They saw it there and overturned the call.
That's a huge challenge for Pitt. We'll see if that will breathe a little life into the Panthers.
Or Washington will just get a point off Lauren Sanders and her slide.
At just the right time. You know, you almost forget it's there, and then Ella May Powell just splits the block from antenna to antenna. As she's in the front row, there's all kinds of space behind her for Lauren Sanders to chase that ball down, and it leaves the block chasing as well.
Well, Missy, it wasn't working early on in this match. They weren't scoring points off of that, so they went away from it for a little while.
I think the pass just wasn't there, Courtney. They're trying to run it with the setter off the net. It's not going to be nearly as effective, but the passing has improved.
All comes down to serve and pass once again. Hoffman. Hoffman on the bump set. Washington thinks it's in. They will call it out.
Wow,
and
we
Keegan
just had
Cook
a challenge moments ago, and we're gonna have another. Keegan Cook a little frustrated right here. He thinks a couple have not bounced his way, and I can understand his frustration.
They're looking for a touch on this. You can see there it was out. They can look at both
we can
of those.
see that. Yeah, so the question will be whether or not it was touched, because we do have a good look at the end line. It's definitely out.
The coach from Washington is challenging the ball.
Ooh, close.
Wow. And of course, often this comes down to the fact that we're going to have indisputable evidence. If it's touched, I think it's by the middle there. I think it's by Stark's right hand that would be in question. I don't think the pin blocker gets a piece of it. It's whether or not perhaps Stark's right hand. Oh, wow.
Man, the antenna's kind of in the way right
there. It really
is.
It really is.
We're lucky, though, to have those super fancy cameras on the nets for this round and moving forward in the tournament, so we do get a better look than normal.
Back-to-back challenges here really slows things down for a minute. I don't know if that plays into either team's favor. It's Washington who's been a little frustrated with these calls. Pitt, of course, trying to mount a little bit of a comeback here, but these are long stoppages in play.
Both of these teams have shown they're pretty resilient, though.
Yeah, to say the least, that's for sure. These are our 5-set warriors as we come in to the regional finals, Pittsburgh and Washington.
Yeah, the only teams left who have played 5-setters, and Washington's played 2 of them. Trying to force a third.
And yes, those are fans we hear in the arena. How exciting is that?
Max of 4,000 fans inside the CHI Health Center Arena. We have moved over here today from the Convention Center. We'll be here through the National Championship match. And it looks like we have a decision.
All eyes on this call right here. No touch.
Ball's going to stand. Yeah, no touch.
And if you're Washington right now, you just kind of got to let that one roll right off your back. Last two calls, you're feeling like maybe those didn't go your way. You're thinking, man, I'd sure like to see that on replay myself. But you know what? You got to stay in the moment if you're Washington right here. You've got the 3-point lead. Keep the pressure on.
Kayla Lund will serve for Pitt. Inde. Back to Inde. And then the block. Starts in Inde.
Early in the match, I felt like Washington had no answer for Inde, and they're finally starting to get in a groove defensively on how to defend her. So they're making her earn her points now. And guess what? Inde says, no problem. I'll earn them on defense if I have to. Huge stuff block there for Pitt to follow up that long stop in play with another point.
Wow, the closest this set has been since the score was 10-8. Pittsburgh down by 2. A must-win set for Washington. And they have really just turned things around. Pittsburgh came out and won the first 2 sets. Winner of this match is moving on to the national semifinals. For Pitt, it would be their first appearance in school history. For Washington, it would be their 5th appearance, the first since 2013. They will face the winner of Purdue and Kentucky coming up later tonight.
I'm really looking forward to that Purdue-Kentucky matchup. I think those are 2 teams who are in close proximity to one another, so you know they go to battle in terms of the recruiting battle. But realize, last year Kentucky had a shot at Purdue on their home court in Lexington. They lost that in a 3-2 battle, and I really think that is a loss that those Kentucky players, such competitors, would really like to avenge. They weren't happy about their pre-conference schedule a season ago in 2019. Felt like they let a few get away from them. So I'm thinking they probably like nothing more than another shot at a Purdue team who, from the very beginning, there were people in this tournament who said, don't sleep on Purdue. They are talented.
They absolutely are. That'll be a fun one coming up later tonight, approximately 9 Eastern on ESPNU. Free ball back to the Panthers. They can run the middle. Sabrina Starks, 1-point game.
And that is what we have not seen in set 3 and early in set 4. We have not seen the middle transition that just lit the fire in Pitt early in this match. But here it comes, and it's Sabrina Starks, Springfield, Nebraska native.
Tied! Washington led by 6 points in this set.
Great reaction by Vasquez Gomez to keep that ball alive off of her own block. I thought for sure that was going to the ground, and the quick reaction of Vasquez Gomez, incredible.
First lead for Pitt in this set. If they win the set, they win the match. Hoffman tools the block.
Remember that one. Really, really big swing by Hoffman. Once again, as we saw early in the match, it was LMA Powell on the run. That's a bump set out of, off the court, really, from Powell. And somehow, some way, Hoffman kills it.
Oh, man. You don't want that there. A service error, an easy point to Pittsburgh. We are going to 25. You have to win by 2.
And I'll tell you what, she's been so good from the service line. LMA, they may have scored more points off her serve than any other. She has been so effective. That one just floats.
Pitt on a 5-1 run. Tied at 22.
I said, remember the swing moments ago? Well, remember that one too. Guess what? It's Claire Hoffman again in the must-have moment. Guess who they're going to find? Their junior, Claire Hoffman, out there at the pin. What a tournament she's having. Inde looking like the attacker we saw in sets 1 and 2. She had faded a bit, but not that time.
Pitt, the only unseeded team remaining in the tournament, 2 points away from their first semifinal.
I think we're
immediately
gonna get a
Dan
challenge,
Fisher,
Courtney.
yeah, Dan Fisher is grabbing the green challenge card.
And the reactions from Inde in this tournament are just absolutely priceless.
This will be the 3rd challenge Pitt has used. They will get an extra challenge if we go to a 5th set. This is a huge call.
Yeah.
If they overturn this, it is match point Pitt.
It's
And
out.
that's a great angle. It's out. Yeah.
The reaction from Washington, every single player had the same reaction. So I'm thinking either this is the best squad of actresses we've ever seen, or the ball's out. Because, I mean, every single one of them had the same reaction. So I was pretty sure.
Look, though, I don't blame him on the challenge. It's a huge point swing if it's overturned. Look at this again. Take a second look. Call is confirmed. Tied at 23.
So we saw a late service error from Washington, a late service error from Pitt. A lot of tension in this one, Courtney.
You have to win by 2. Overpass. And it's a point for Pitt.
Wow, this one just wide.
And Keegan Cook has pulled the challenge card.
And I don't blame him. I think I would want to take another look at it too. Is there a possibility that there was a touch? No points more important than these. And so I am absolutely using my challenge card because, as Courtney said, oh.
Yes, it's in. They just showed it on the monitor in the arena too. You could see Washington jumping up and down. Wow. That's a good look also. Wow, that ball's in.
And I think what you pointed out, Courtney, is so important. The reason these coaches are quickly pulling these cards here is that if we go to a 5th set, they do get another challenge in that 5th set, which could be very important the way this one is going.
So they can go back and look through this whole point. But looking at that, the score will be flipped if they see the same thing we're looking at.
Because that first rule involves in-out touch, they can look at all of those things under one challenge.
It's in. So the point goes to Washington. It is set point Washington. Wokolo off of 1 foot ties it.
And you know there's so much pressure there on Crenshaw to keep that ball in bounds, and yet the easy pass for Pitt makes it the middle a great option, and so right behind to Wokolo. We've seen her on the tight slide several times today. I like the wide slide there. Good look for her.
Vasquez Gomez serving. They get it out of the net. Kayla Lund on the swing. Blocked!
Lund forces Ella May Powell to take first ball. She takes the setter out of the equation, and that creates problems. Really well played by Lund. Not a hard hit ball, but a smart ball, because then Ella May Powell not able to get hands on it. And with that, you have a ball dying inside that becomes very blockable for Pitt.
It is match point Pitt. Washington is going to challenge this. So this is the final challenge until we get to the 5th set for either team. They're looking to see if Pitt was in the net. I don't think so.
Interestingly, though, that is 6 for blue in the front row. That's Kylie Levers. They have switched into a 5-1 system. They have a setter in the front row right now. That's what was allowing the wide slide there for Wokolo. So a little adjustment late in this match, giving Washington something a little different to look at. So 6 there in blue. Levers has not played across the front row for the majority of this match, and here she is on an absolutely huge block for Pitt.
Yes, there is a net violation. It might not have been at that point, though. It could have been earlier in the rally.
Yeah,
and it's Kayla Lund.
And it's down at the bottom of the net, her hip into the bottom of the net. And you see the net shaking there early in that rally. That's what tipped them off. So again, a reversal of the score. Wow.
It is set point Washington for the 2nd time. Neither team has a challenge remaining until if we get to a 5th set.
If the pass is there, I think you got to let Wokolo do her thing.
Free ball back to Washington. And Washington completes it off the swing from the freshman, Maddie Ensley, who has been so key. We are going to a 5th set. Of course we are. Washington will be playing in their 3rd 5-set match in this tournament when we come back. The first spot in the national semifinal will take a 5-set match to decide. Washington and Pitt going the distance. Only one can move on to that national semifinal. What a match it has already been. Pitt came out and won the first 2 sets. Washington has responded in sets 3 and a tight set 4. We go to a 5th, and both of these teams know what it's like to go the distance. They did it yesterday. Pitt taking on the 3-seed Minnesota, took them to 5 sets, and they made history. Their first regional final appearance with that win, a 5-set win over Minnesota. Washington has only played 5-set matches in this tournament. Did it yesterday against Louisville. They trailed by 6 in the 5th set. Didn't matter. They won, they moved on, and we've got another 5-set thriller here.
Washington trailed by 6. Remember, in a 5th set that is shortened to only 15. And that 6 points was an early 7-1 deficit. I mean, Coach Keegan said it could be the greatest comeback he has ever been a part of. It's hard to imagine a better one.
Washington is 6-2 in 5-set matches this season, so they know what this feeling is like. They know how fast it goes. They have won their last 4 5-set matches.
And interestingly, it looks like Washington is going to put the ball in the hands of Bogomolova, the player who went on a huge service run last night to will this team back to victory. She's going to start back there.
They got 7 straight points off of her serve in that 5th set. Inde on the left side is dug up. Hoffman terminates. It is important to know each team has received an additional challenge for this 5th set. Just something to keep in mind. Ooh, that's a sharp shot down the line for Chi Inde.
I think as many balls as you can get to Inde and Wokolo here in this 5th set, if you're Pitt, that's what you've absolutely got to have. Too many balls to lunge could spell trouble because that means they're a little bit out of system.
Maren Grote.
There it is again, early in the match, that slide play. We saw at the beginning of set 4, Powell chose to go with the slide. Here in the early in set 5, she finds Grote behind. They don't overuse the slide, but when they do use it, it sure is effective. Really well-placed ball there by LMA Powell.
And now Powell will go back to serve. She has had one of the best serves for Washington today. Blocked! Grote at the net!
Grote on the slide kill, Grote on the stuff block. And it was a really nice serve from Powell that created a bit of a predictable situation and gave an advantage to Washington in that blocking matchup.
Grote has 5 blocks. Pass too tight. And it's going to be 4 contacts on Pitt.
And look how much better Washington is doing in defending Inde. Early in this match, so many of her swings were going for kills, and now they're getting some touch blocks on her, slowing her down, allowing the defenders behind her to transition.
Four straight points for Washington.
Samantha Drexel getting in on the action in true Powell form. Washington spreading it around.
Trilogy for COPD.
4 straight points for Washington here in winner-take-all set 5.
This has got to feel a little better for Washington fans than that 7-1 deficit in set 5 just yesterday.
Flipping the script, that was not touched. Now it's a 6-1 lead for Washington, only playing to 15.
Just the minor adjustments that Washington has been able to make over the course of this match. Obviously, you come in with a game plan, but you're going to have to make some adjustments once you see a hitter live, and Washington has done such a nice job of that.
Pitt not going anywhere, though. They've got the weapons. They've got the work ethic. Inde is an awesome weapon to go to.
She said, we can't be tentative. That's not who we are. I like the big rip there.
Faki on serve. Woo! Maren Grote.
And you're getting a look at this Washington offense when the pass is not all the way back on the 3-meter line. when you're giving Powell the ability to make choices here, all of a sudden you just see a huge difference in the execution.
Keegan Cook told his team yesterday was not our one moment in the tournament. Yeah, the comeback was great, but we are not done. Kayla Lund, a nice tough shot down the line.
And Levers a little something on that set as she flattens the ball out and gets it out to Lund a little quicker than some of the balls we've seen to the outside. I like the low flat set and just giving Lund an opportunity there to beat the block.
With the rotation, Lexus Akeyo is now the setter for Pitt. Drexel. Washington hits 8 points first.
And everyone for Washington is just in on the action. We continue to see Drexel, Inlay, Hoffman, all in double-digit kills.
Back in for Pittsburgh, number 2, Valeria Vasquez-Gomez. Now serving number 23, Kayla Lund.
Tip over the block. Back to Lockwood. Blocked!
Wow, Washington just standing strong. Obviously the play completely bunched up there in right front for Pitt, and they really have no other option here but to set the right side. It creates an advantage for Washington, but can they capitalize on it? And they do with a really disciplined block. And now an ace to follow it up, Courtney, from Drexel.
And Pitt will call its last timeout of this 5th set. Washington's block and their serving have improved as this match has gone on. It has helped them tremendously.
Yeah, absolutely. They just couldn't quite get a 3-option pass early in this match. And I really feel like this offense is at its best when you're forced to defend all 3 across the front line. Very predictable situations early on, but they have just plugged away, and that pass has gotten better and better. And then to go along with that, they're now creating more pressure from the service line.
If you're Pitt, you are down 6 right now in a short set. What's got to change?
You know, I think for Pitt, they're at their best when they've been aggressive in this tournament. And I expect them to be aggressive. That's the way they play. But I think you got to continue to feed Wokolo. They haven't quite had this success with her. She hasn't been able to take full rips at the ball. It hasn't been a perfect connection as this match has gone on. But we know it's there. We saw it early. And I think you got to be willing to take some chances here. Maybe when you don't feel like you're quite in system, you got to maybe take a chance, push the middle, give her an opportunity. She is really a matchup problem for any team.
Yeah, she hits .415 on the season. That is a high percentage. It would be great to give her the ball if they can. Samantha Drexel on the serve. Lockwood.
And it's the unpredictable for Pitt. I would not have expected the ball to Lockwood, but it's a beautifully set ball. She has all sorts of room to swing options. She could go angle line, and she just drills one down the line.
Into the lineup, attacking serve number 3, Kat Flood.
Pitt has brought Kat Flood into this set to serve.
Talk about a pressure situation for a freshman.
to the pin. Great up by Vasquez Gomez. Bernal setter on the outside. She was all over that point.
Yes, she was, and she has a lot of ground to cover because Pitt is asking their off blocker in that situation out of left front to come all the way over and pick up that tip. It's a lot of court to cover.
Now Washington will use its first timeout. Pitt has no timeouts remaining. They were down 6 just moments ago.
That time going right after the setter as she has that matchup in the front row, turns on it down the line. And Vasquez Gomez with a big swing right there.
That's a little momentum that Pitt needs right now. They're running out of time.
No timeouts left. It's going to be all on their shoulders to create some momentum out there on the floor. And Vasquez Gomez certainly providing the energy they need to do so.
Both of these teams got it done yesterday in 5-set matches. Pitt looking for its very first national semifinal in school history. System swing for Washington.
Ooh, a touch call.
Touch on the ball. Maddie Inslee got a touch on that ball. That is something they could challenge. But each team only has one challenge in this set.
Lots of credit to Kat Flood, inserted into the match to serve there. She puts a really nice serve in play. They get what they want. They get a one option opportunity here. Really only option was to set the outside.
And it did look like there was a touch on that ball. Overpass. Claire Hoffman just ate it up.
Washington starting to feel it. Down 0-2. It was Pitt who took sets 1 and 2, and Washington has come storming back.
Pitt not going anywhere just yet. Jordan Lockwood.
Lockwood in some clutch situations right now for Pitt, coming up big.
Only playing to 15 here in this 5th set. Kylie Lever's in. Washington inching closer. Claire Hoffman.
Really nice tempo, nice placement on the set. Hoffman finishes it off.
Bogomolova back. Out of the middle comes Sabrina Starks.
And when they're in system, the middle has been and continues to be so effective for Pitt.
Powell goes behind her. Maren Grote gets the kill. It is match point Washington.
Sometimes teams go away from the middle as the match goes on. Washington has worked the middle more and more as the match has gone on.
Service error, second match point though for Washington. Starks will step back. Pitt's got to be perfect. How about those Huskies? Moving on to the national semifinal.
We said last night may have been the best comeback in Husky history, and then they turn around today down 0-2 and pull it out to land themselves a spot in the national semifinals.
For the 5th time, they will be in the national semifinals, the first time since 2013. What a season for Pitt, the only unseeded team to make it this far, but they can't hold off the comeback of a Washington squad on a mission.
Tell you what, so much credit to Pitt. They looked brilliant early in this match, but I tell you what, Washington just hung in there.
An incredible run for Pitt. They started the spring season 4-4, the fall season. They went undefeated in the spring. So much fight, so much determination for Dan Fisher and his Pitt Panthers, but their run will end in their very first regional final in school history. Wow, Washington on back-to-back days. Remember, they trailed by 6 points in the 5th set yesterday, got it done. Went down in this match 0-2, got it done in the 5th.
And they played to their strengths. They did what has defined them all season long, and that's spread the ball around. Stick to what you're good at. That's what they did.
Washington will face either Purdue or Kentucky. That match coming up later tonight, approximately 9 Eastern over on ESPNU. What a feeling for Washington. They have only played 5-set matches in this tournament, and now 3 for 3 in those 5-set matches.
So much emotion, and for good reason, as they pull out yet another 5-setter. Doesn't come easy in the tournament. Washington is a testament to that. But I'll tell you what, Washington is also a testament to the fact that champions don't die easily. And they said that they didn't want yesterday to be their day. They didn't want to miss the moment today when they had the opportunity to take their program back to where they want and expect it to be. And Washington, the winner of the Pac-12, expects their program to be in the national semifinals, and they have found their way back.